And kind enough to join us from the West Coast here is Joe Rose. Joe, good morning. How are things going out there?
I'm doing great. I wake up every day and I go, well, another head coach gone, more offensive coordinators gone. My God, man. I'll tell you what, Mike McDaniel is going to be just fine for everybody out there. He's going to he gets more and more popular every day with 9 head coaching jobs. 3 head coaches were able to keep their jobs, but had to have already changed offensive coordinators. My gosh, man, be a lot of new play callers this year.
You got a little sports buildup, don't you? I mean, we didn't even ask you a question. You're ready to roll. You're going to be bouncing off the walls on Monday, aren't
Man,
you?
it never stops, man. My family goes, they're out here, do you ever turn it off? And I go, no, man.
Nope.
I don't care about politics in California. I'm already.
The show must
go
on.
A different world.
Right?
Joe, let me ask you this. What has been your impression of the list of candidates that have been interviewed or have lined up for interviews? And is it a comfortable spot for you to know that the Mike Tomlins and the John Harbaughs, the 2 creme de la creme coaches that are out there, really don't have much interest in this job?
Well, I don't know. I'm really curious. It looks like, Tomlin, I'm guessing, he's been through a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if he took some time off. And he's still a young guy. I think he'll coach again. But Harbaugh, it's interesting. He's going to obviously be offered a lot of jobs and have his choice. He's going to get his $20 million a year.
Yep.
But I got to be honest with you. I look at the rest of these guys. I don't know. I have no idea. Everybody goes, "Hey, you excited about this guy?" Or excited, and a couple of the guys I know. I've been around, and my son grew up with Chris Shula, so I know he's a great kid, and he's been coaching for a long, long time. And the thought of him coming back with, his grandfather being, maybe the greatest coach of all time, wins, he is the greatest of all time. And so but I don't know what kind of head coaches, and, I'm half numb to this thing at this point, Omar. I'm not down on it.
You're not the only one, Joe. I'm trying to not be numb, but I'm just been burned.
Well, I think, and I've said this, a couple of my buddies, call because they know even though I'm out here and spending time with my father, but, they call and I go, hey, man, I don't know. I just want something that works. I'm like everybody else. I'm glad we're getting a fresh start. I am. I think it's good. But, man, there's a lot of work and we've tried every personality of a guy.
Mm-hmm.
We've tried, from different programs that have organizations have been successful. And so, hey, man, I'm open to anything that comes in, and the things we talked about a little bit yesterday, starting with leadership and then finding a couple, coordinators. The bigger thing even is upgrading this organization through the draft with good players, and hopefully some of them will develop faster than the group we just had. And it's not a shot at this draft class we just had, but a lot of them didn't develop till later in the season. But it's, when you sit back and you look at this, I'm like, I don't know what the answer is. Well, we got to get a disciplined guy. Well, we've had those guys. Well, we got to get a guy that relates better to the player. Okay, well, we've had that. And so, I don't know at this point. I'm like, go do it. Hey, man, I'm along for the ride to watch, like you are, Omar, and you do it up close every day. But I don't know at this point. People call me, hey, what do you think of this guy? What do you think of that guy? I don't know. I know their teams are really good right now. I know they're having success. I know they're top on their offensive side of the ball or defensive side of the ball. I know they've been part of a really good organization. And, hey, listen, man, nothing's better than what Mike McDaniel came from with Shanahan and the 49ers. And, again, I think it starts with the general manager before we get to the head coach. I think we got to I think when we start getting better players, our head coaches will be better too.
I do want to ask you this, Joe, because I actually used you in a column that I wrote for the Miami Herald,
which was him and pay him.
No, I mentioned him
Okay.
in WQAM. But
Fair
it's
enough.
primarily about the culture. And I have had this opinion for a while that yes, culture needs to be changed, but I think environment has a lot to do with it as well. And I know the Panthers win down here,
Yeah.
the Heat win down here, but I think football is a little bit different. And when you practice for an entire week to play one game, there could be a little bit of loss in focus. And I use examples like there was a certain running back who basically had a residency at Tootsie's, and he basically left practice and went there every day there before he got traded.
What's the problem with that? You spent all morning talking about how you're going there on Monday.
But I'm going there for an event on Monday. I don't like go there every day.
You seem to go there a lot.
Omar likes the food. He still likes it.
Exactly. I like the food.
It's a little hypocritical hearing
Well,
dog someone for going
how
there.
do you know and that's how I know he was there all the time. Every time I went, he was there.
To try to sell my wife on that one. Hey, honey, I know you don't like strip clubs, but I got to go to this Tootsie's.
One time you give her that seafood rice. One time you give her that seafood rice, Joe, I think she'd change her tune. Give her the seafood rice, let her get her shoulder rubbed.
Hey, you don't know my wife.
Yeah.
Ain't changing her tune on Tootsie's. Well-known Tootsie's.
But I remember talking to an executive for the Dolphins one year. This is back in the Parcells era, and their master plan was we're going to get married and engaged guys, and then 2 years later, all the married and engaged guys that they drafted basically were divorced. Do you think the environment has anything to do with what's been going on here for the last 20 years?
Oh, man. So I've had this conversation with everybody, and I know you bring it up more than anybody. So listen, man, we went to those clubs and we did those things.
Yeah.
We did them. So I don't want to start because there's guys that are listening to get up early that I played with. They're listening to you right now. That would go, if Joe Rose says one thing like he's against all this, he's a bigger fraud than we already knew he was.
Yeah.
Look at it's just part. If you're a single guy and you got money in your pocket and you come down here, and I'm not saying everybody, you got guys that are very mature. You get guys that got their act together day one.
The God Squatters too. Yeah.
But and the Christian group, yes, the fellowship Christian guys were, and we had a thank God we had those guys. Those guys were fantastic.
Kept you on course, huh, Joe? Made you repent for your sins.
I can tell you, I could tell you stories about Glenn Blackwood and the impact, and Don McNeil and his impact, and Dwight Stevenson, just solid. I mean, solid as a rock from day one. You couldn't go, hey man, we're going out and you're going too, and he goes, I'm not going there, or I'm not doing that. No. I'm about ready to take your job, and that's not the way I do it. So we had a lot of those guys, but there are going to be guys that get together. It starts with a cold beer afterwards, and we all go have a cold beer after weigh-in, and sit down at La Sabre and Miami Lakes, or another place somebody would pick, and we go have a couple beers, and then some guys would go home, and then there would be another group of us that would extend the evening. And I just think you're going to have some of that. But at the same time, the really good players, when they're there, they're focused in. Sometimes a little hangover in the middle of the week. Listen, we won a lot of games. We won a lot of. We didn't win it all.
You also had a Hall of Fame quarterback now.
Yeah, and no, we had Hall of Famers on those teams, and guys that are very close to being Hall of Famers are really good. And game day was their day. They were made for game. We had guys. I always say Mark and Mark were made for game day. They were showtime. They were ready, and so that some of that stuff can't listen. We also had guys that ended up in rehab. So yes, that's names have never been talked about, but and that was a time of cocaine, a lot of cocaine and alcohol. And the clubs were, they were wild, and everything was out of friggin' control. There weren't
wasn't no social media either.
Were policing were in there with us. It was a crazy time.
Yeah.
So I hear everybody say that, and guys, and they're not disciplined, and then they're half-assed. I still think there's character of guys who will go out and do things and have a wild night out, and still will come back and go, all right, now it's back to work, and now I'm back to focused and getting that second contract and friggin' staying in this league for a while and that type of stuff. But I will also, and I've heard guys say this and coaches say this, that the frustration of guys not being professional, and they know where they've been and they've been out, and you don't have them, and and they look shot. You got a big practice you want to get in, and they're not ready to go, and they've been out all friggin' night, and that frustration. So you're right. You got to get guys that are mature. That's why these background checks that I talked to these guys about for a long, long time late in the season, and they said we got to find guys that love football, they're character guys, the mental health background, all that stuff comes into play. To your point, because it's out there screaming at you. It's out there screaming at you every day. You have a bad day, and the guy's, hey, I'm going to go out tonight and get my mind off it, or things are rough at home with the girlfriend or the wife, or and that's all. It's all the maturity stuff that you've got to find the right guys down here. I know, and Omar, you're not alone. There are a lot of people think this environment we have in South Florida is makes it hard, makes it frustrating. I know Vic Fangio has said it to guys that's leaked out that he felt, guys are more worried about the clubs and winning games. So it's not crazy what you say, because people get mad when you say this.
Yep.
But I still think, and I'm living proof of playing with a bunch of guys. And again, it wasn't everybody on our team. There's some damn good guys that still enjoyed themselves on certain days of the week. Not the night before a game, or none of that. They knew their bodies and knew, but it exists. And I don't know if we're ever going to be able to get rid of it 100%. You're not going to get 70 guys to go home and on their night off or the night before, they know they have the day off, that to think that they're not going to go out and have some fun or stay out late or go to a club because they got invited to be in the VIP part of a club. They're going to do it.
Joe, can we keep you for another segment here? I guess I'm putting you on the
spot
here.
Did I just chew that up? That I brought it back. I was just covering myself.
There's a lot of management in the building today. And I'm trying to break on time, just like you.
That's a good idea.
So, do you mind doing another segment with us? Is that okay?
It's up to Omar. Omar got me going on that damn.
Hey, listen, I know I'm going to catch hell for writing it, but it needed to be said, Joe. And that's just the reality. You're not going to come from Green Bay and think this is Green Bay, brother.
We'll ask you this too when you come back, Joe. But Omar is going to maybe work with us on Friday. Dono's going to be in studio with us, and the Canes fan base strongly dislikes Omar. So we're trying to get a gauge on
what's he doing. Like what's there? There's nothing negative about UM right now.
There's always something negative for Omar to say. So we're trying
what can there
to
be negative? They've got a really good friggin' team. There's 2 teams left, and UM's one of them.
I know, but we're trying to gauge whether people are going to allow him to do the show on Friday, or if we tell him to just take a break.
Oh, I'm leaning towards giving him the break right now.
All right. Well, we have 2 days to decide. But, Joe, hang on. We're going to take a break.
I got to be on my best behavior, Joe.
We'll talk some Canes with Joe on the other side here.
Yeah. Don't bring a bad smell into the house, man, on Friday. No, it's all good, man. It's hype time.
All right, Joe, hang in with us. Hang in with us. We'll be back in a second.
All right.